Hi, this is Jay Rivka Sulin, founder and executive director of Ancient Roots Israel. Ancient Roots Israel is the first international herbal conference and community in Israel. Our second annual conference has recently been postponed due to corona restrictions, but we're looking forward to rescheduling it soon. For more information about that and more about Ancient Roots Israel, please go to our website, ancientrootsisrael.com. So I'm sharing with you today one of my favorite secret hidden paths, and this wonderful little path that I've been following, which is why I'm still a bit out of breath, and it's just incredible this time of year. During the rest of the year before the rains come, it's really unassuming. It's rocky. You know, there's dead weeds everywhere. But when the rains come, it becomes this enchanted forest, this enchanted path. And as I was walking on it the other day, I saw this plant right here. This is moss. And I thought, wow, we should really talk about that. So I'm trying to find just the right specimen. If you can see right here, I'm going to try to get in that star shape moss, which gives me a clue about what kind of moss this could be. But moss really isn't my forte. So for now, we're just going to call this unidentified moss. But that's okay, because I wanted to talk about the medicinal uses of moss just very quickly that you may or may not know that are very interesting. Now, if we knew the specific moss, we could talk about internal use. I'm going to try to get some close-ups here. And internal use, I'm not quite sure how to get both me and the moss into the same frame, but I'll sit on a mossy rock maybe, and you will take my word for it. Internal use for moss can definitely vary by species, and I'm not sure that all moss is edible, although some of the most common ones do seem to be. They've been used from everything from urinary tract infections to combating cancer. Again, disclaimer, I am not claiming any cures with natural medicine. I am not FDA approved, and so on and so forth. I'm talking about the traditional uses of herbs and herbal medicine. But anyway, okay, so moss, I want to talk about the external application of moss, which is where I really learned about this, and it is with bleeding. So the interesting thing about mosses, and I'm looking at them right now, I wish you could see it too. You see that? The interesting thing about mosses is that I want to say there's maybe 22%, but you might have to confirm that. But it's a large proportion of moss is actually dead cells, and it's the purpose of that is to hold and retain water. And it's, in other words, what I'm trying to say is that it's extremely absorbent, and that's all natural how it's created. And it has all of these anti-fungal, antibacterial, antimicrobial, anti-everything properties that make it pretty great as a sterile dressing. And in fact, it was used as a dressing for war wounds and gunshot wounds and stab wounds and all kinds of things during the Civil War, and all the way up through World War I, I believe, and of course I can imagine back to antiquity. So what was done is the moss was taken and it was packed, like pretend packing, was packed into the wound. And because there wasn't enough, especially in World War I, certainly there wasn't enough cotton gauze to go around. And so all the military decision makers had to look back into antiquity and native herbal medicine to try and figure out alternatives to cotton gauze dressing, which is kind of interesting when you think about it. Not to go off into a tangent here, but if you figure that by World War I, people were already kind of losing that herbal tradition that we had for millennia, on something as simple as how to dress a wound. It's very interesting. But I didn't learn about moss that way. I, as a woman, as a natural leaning woman, learned about moss as a eco-friendly, highly self-sustainable menstrual pad, if you will. And of course I learned about it also for babies. So let's go into that. Women who were menstruating, instead of using, say, cloth or menstrual cups or disposable tampons or disposable menstrual pads, would do a couple of things. They would either sit on the ground and bleed right into the earth, and it was believed in many different indigenous cultures that women bleeding right into the ground, because the menstrual blood was so nutrient rich and very high in minerals, that it was very good for plants. And so women might have special menstrual plants that they would bleed into that would be extra nutritious. Or if there was a crop that was failing, a woman might be asked to go and just kind of sit in various spots in that crop and bleed right into the ground in order to give the crop a mineral boost. So that was one way. Another way is women would look for a mossy patch and would sit on the mossy patch, or would cut off a chunk of moss. And moss is really, it has like a shallow root system. I don't know if they're technically roots or not. But basically you can cut them up as long as you leave the bottommost layer. It will quickly regenerate. So, you know, you could cut out sections and regenerate the moss as long as you had some kind of moist place where moss was available, or readily available. Women would cut off chunks and kind of, you know, place it in their pants or in their skirts or bloomers or whatever they were wearing at different times, and they could bleed into that. And even now, modern women will sometimes use moss, or maybe even slightly pack the vagina, as if packing a wound, to absorb that. I want to, for babies. So, Baruch Hashem, I have a large family and my children were cloth diapered. We do not use moss, but many indigenous cultures would cut off chunks of moss and actually line the baby's crib, cradle, sleeping area, even sometimes playing area for tummy time, would line that with moss, as kind of an absorbent diaper, so that if the baby defecated or urinated, it wouldn't destroy kind of the crib or the cradle. Okay, I have moss and stuff on my hands. So one of the practices that were used to make the moss more absorbent was to take the moss and put it in some kind of absorbent bag, a ton of moss, and step on it, stomp on it, dance on it, and basically try and push the water out of the cells of the moss, because the moss was very durable to stomping and jumping and all of that, but the water would come out and then it would leave even more room to reabsorb whatever new liquid or blood or whatever you wanted to absorb with it. And what else? Yeah, wounds healed very well, highly absorbent. Of course, you can take your absorbent pack of moss for menstrual blood or wound blood and toss it, you know, under a tree or whatever, and it will decompose. So that's a nice eco-friendly bonus. Let's see what else. I think I've covered the most important use. Oh no, I want to add some more things. So moss is actually waterproof. So it sucks in water, it absorbs water, but anything above what it holds onto and absorbs kind of just rolls right off of it. So this is used in eco-friendly house building. I know we're not talking about medicinal medicine right now, but there's a lot of crossover. So in certain indigenous cultures, they would take these packs of moss, peat moss, or different types of moss, and they would actually roof their houses. They would put it right on top of their roofs. I'm like trying to draw an A-frame roof for you in the air. In order to have a waterproof roof. And it could be used as siding for houses as well, or eco-friendly houses, to keep it waterproof. It's an excellent insulator as well. So insulating means, I'm sure many of you know, but it's going to keep in the heat on cool days and keep in the cool on hot days. It's a way of kind of controlling your living environment, the climate and the temperature in your living environment. That's very sound and very eco-friendly and makes for a wonderful, comfortable living space. The more I think about this, the more I wonder why we built in a somewhat conventional way. We built a little unconventionally, but you know, I feel like chopping up a bunch of moss and sticking it all over the house. I don't know how long-term durable it is, so I don't know how long you could have the moss as your roofing or a siding before it would need to be replaced. I don't know, but I do know that it does, like I said, regenerate very quickly as long as you get the lower part of its root system, and you can all correct me if it's not technically a root. But it should be able to keep regenerating pretty quickly and easily, provided that there's a constant moisture. Again, I don't know how that would translate onto a normal house in an Israeli environment year-round, but if you do, please comment below. At any rate, I'm going to grab a few shots of the moss as close up as I can get it with my camera, and I'm just going to remind you, since I didn't at the beginning, that when you are outside, especially during these winter months, and I'm kind of shaded by a tree. Isn't this great? Look at this place. I mean, come on, this is amazing. Roll up your sleeves, uncover your hair, take off your glasses, hike up your skirts, roll up your pants, expose as much of your body to the sun to get your daily minimum dose, 15 minutes a day of vitamin D to help and build and maintain a healthy immune system. In the summer, you might need to get out more. You might need to get out more frequently. You might need to stay in the sun longer. But it's so easy, and it's free, and it's good for you, and it's good for your mental health. Don't wear a mask when you're getting your sun. Don't. Uncover your face, uncover everything, and really get your vitamin D. You won't regret it. I can't think of any downside to getting out in the sun every day for at least 15 minutes when it's at its strongest light. I was just reading in the Midrash. Here's a little Midrash for you about in this past Parsha where Yaakov was injured in his thigh. His thigh was dislocated, and by the angel. I'm sure you all know the story in Vayishlach. And Hashem, according to the Midrash, healed the dislocated thigh of Yaakov by bringing some of the most powerful healing rays from the sun that Hashem had reserved only for tzaddikim and whatever, but, you know, brought out those rays of the sun, and the rays of the sun healed Yaakov's thigh. Sun is a healer. Sun does amazing things. sun lifts stains right out of clothes. Speaking of cloth diapers, persistent stains on very, very clean diapers that would not go away. 20 minutes in the sun and they are pristine and brand new. The sun is so powerful. Such a powerful, powerful gift and offering for humanity and everything on this planet and on many other planets. And maybe other solar systems and many other things. The sun is so incredible and so powerful. So thank you, Hashem. Thank you for the sun. Thank you, sun. Thank you for supplying us with our vitamin D. Thank you for healing us. Thank you. We already know that those who have negative outcomes from COVID-19 and more are vitamin D deficient. And there are easy and free and health-building solutions to that. And this is one of the best, in my opinion. So anyway, thank you for joining us for the virtual plant walk. Be sure to like and subscribe and tap that notification bell on YouTube so that you can be updated when we have new videos. Comment. I'm not an expert. I'm just a normal person who loves the plants and loves helping my family and my community and my friends. There's a heck of a lot of people who know a heck of a lot more than me, and please chime in, comment below. This is how we learn. This is how I learned everything I know. This is why I have things to share, because people freely share their herbal knowledge and intuition and information. So please, please, please be sure to comment, be sure to talk about it, be sure to thank our speakers and our teachers when they come in and donate their time to teaching all of us as well. And please step in and teach us and be part of the virtual plant walk for Ancient Roots Israel and our international herbal community. Thanks a lot. See you next week.